Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Blether. I'm back. I'm back from my wee adventure in Bradford last week. Phil, I leave you for one day and I come back to see about 50 comments in the chat on the comment box. Absolute carnage. This was meant to be a dignified show, Phil. And you just let it run riot, apparently.
Did apparently. I didn't take control last week. Apparently, I was told in the chat or in the live comment or the comments afterwards. Yeah.
Well, I'm here to take control.
Yeah.
I'm here to take control. All right. I'm back in the game. So let's get talking some Sunday Blether. But before we start, I just want to introduce the panel, as it's called on here now. The panel. We've got Phil McGinley, Mr. Friday Night. We're missing on Fridays. We are missing. But you're still Mr. Friday Night. Timmy, damn it.
I know. Try to get that sorted. Try to get that sorted at the moment, but that will resume in due course. But yeah, I'm doing good. Doing pretty good, mate. It's been a good weekend, to say the least. Yeah. So yeah, all ready for another dignified Sunday Blether, I'm sure.
Also, Regan, we have you joining us today again. How are you doing, Regan? Are you doing good, my friend?
I'm not bad, David. I've missed you the last few weeks. I know you've been. I know you've been off in Florida. You've been off to get a new car, but it's good. It's been great to see you back on a Sunday.
I appreciate that. I tried to listen to you on the way back from Bradford. Look, you going on about some fancy new car. It's a 20-year-old car I went and picked up. So there's still a tape player in it. So I had to get that.
Wow.
I had to get my phone. Got one of these kind of you plug in the air vent. You can get your phone on for the sat nav, and I was trying to listen to you guys, but because it was so noisy in the car, I was really struggling to hear the carnage that was apparently happening last Sunday. But yeah, it's all good now. Connor, you have stepped in today because the judge is not able to join us today. I think he had a bit too much fun yesterday at Celtic Park, but. We managed to get Connor on board. How are you doing, Connor? It's good to see you on the old Sunday Blether.
I'm good, mate. It's been a while since we've been on together, so I'm happy to see you. And obviously, I hope you enjoyed your holiday over in Florida and Universal and Disneyland. But it's nothing can compare to the roller coaster that is the Scottish football, can it?
Absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not. But it's always good to get you on now. Before we get talking about the Celtic shenanigans, we'll quickly get all that good stuff out the way. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a like, give us a share, slag our hair, hit that bell for the notifications that the bus is on its way. Become a Bhoys Bus member for a small cost of $1.99. All our content is absolutely free. It just helps keep the bus on the road, okay? Do a lot better than that car I bought last week. It's a bit newer than that. All right. And of course, buysports.com, 12.5% off your orders at the checkout with code BUS1888. Right, guys.
Yes.
What do y'all want to talk about?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there was some football action yesterday. I think we could discuss, David. Yes.
Yeah. Were you there, Phil? Were you at the game yesterday?
Sure was. Yes, I was indeed. It was good to be back. First game back this season because I couldn't make it to James's testimonial through the week. So, yeah, obviously delighted to be back to the winning ways. Still surreal that Brendan Rodgers is back as manager. I still haven't quite adapted to it. Even seeing him on the sideline yesterday, I was like, so strange. But yeah, overall, obviously there was a lot of stories before the game when the team lines came out. And obviously we're going to discuss the certain picks there. But in the end, the changes that were made, I think, paid off. And there was a few players that were singled out by a few of us on the bus in the build-up to the new season that I think had a good showing yesterday. A lot of fans thought...
Certainly did.
They did, yeah. Regan, you definitely earmarked David Turnbull. You definitely said you think Turnbull would be a good one. And I think Matt O'Reilly's name was a general consensus between many of us, and that he would flourish under Brendan. I thought he had a great game yesterday. But yeah, overall, we've got 3 points on the board, with 4 goals yesterday. Obviously, yeah, there is a few areas where we need of concern we're going to look at. But overall, you can't complain. You want to start as you mean to continue, and that's essentially, what hope Celtic will be doing now. Get those 3 points on the board, and that's it. Move on to the next.
Yeah, Regan, you're very good at predicting things that are happening these days, and quite vocal about the whole David Turnbull situation. You were maybe less surprised than some of us that he was starting yesterday. I was certainly quite surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised because we have said Turnbull's had a good pre-season and Hatate's, maybe, I don't know, he's just, going into business for himself a little bit as a wee wrestling term there that me and Phil like to bore people with. But and self-indulgent was a word that was used. And I think Brendan's, just kind of putting the marker down there that, I'm in charge now. And you're not going to get away with the kind of no-look passes, even in friendly games. And you'll be rewarded if you play well. And I think that's what's happened. And are you quite pleased to see that Turnbull's going to look like he's going to get more game time under Brendan? And is this a long-term thing that Hatate might find himself a wee bit behind in the pecking order, or is this just a one-off?
I think from watching Brendan Rodgers the last time, David, I noticed that Brendan likes those kind of players that can take shots at goal, they can play nice passes, and I just thought David Turnbull would suit that style of play. So, no, I think David Turnbull's got a big part to play under Brendan Rodgers, because at the end of the day, I think he's the kind of Stuart Armstrong of 2016. So I think he will be the main player from him in midfield.
Quickly, just seen that comment come up there from the Bhoys bus, the man himself.
Yes.
Connor, we do have a talking point actually on that today. Bhoys bus says here, fun talking point for later on in the show. How much does Matt O'Reilly hate Ange? Well, we do have the Ange versus Matt O'Reilly segment coming up very, very quickly. But just on what Regan touched on there, Connor, what was your feeling overall when you seen that it was Hatate dropped for Turnbull today? Yesterday.
It was surprising, but it also wasn't in a way, because obviously I was at James's testimonial on the Tuesday. So when I was getting up to the stadium yesterday, when I eventually got some signal to see what the lineup was, I was like, that's very interesting. But I think we spoke about it in the chat previously that I think just with the way that Hatate had been looking the previous couple of games, like there's maybe a bit of an attitude problem there, and obviously Turnbull had came in and scored and it looked okay in pre-season, and I think it's kind of evident now that Brendan Rodgers wants to take Turnbull and maybe develop him, and play him in that position, and Hatate maybe looks as if he could maybe be further off with his previous comments and his aptitude on the pitch. So yeah, it was surprising, but it was a nice surprise for me, because I like David Turnbull. Whilst it wasn't a favourite during Ange's era, I think before that he was only one bright shining light during that car crash of a season, the 10-0 field season, and then it was seen as a good player. And then Ange's first season before he got that injury, he seemed very, very good, very comfortable, and was scoring a lot as well. So he's definitely a good player, and there's value in a good player in there that I think that Brendan Rodgers is going to get the best out of.
It's not a player I was overly bothered about keeping, if I'm honest, David Turnbull, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, if a lack of a better phrase. If Brendan sees potential to, get some upgrades in his game, and then I'm all for it. I do still prefer to see Hatate in there. I just think Hatate's obviously a bit more, he's quicker on the ball, less touches on the ball, much more maybe forward thinking. But the stats don't lie as well. Turnbull has certainly, he's laid a marker down yesterday. He's done nothing wrong in pre-season to say that we should be getting rid of him.
David, here's a good point for Patrick McLaughlin. He's brought in something you need to remember with David Turnbull. He's out of contract next summer. He's got 1 year left. So as Patrick's asked here, either David Turnbull's been put in the shop window, or he's going to get the Armstrong treatment. Remember, Stuart Armstrong did sign an extra year as his contract was running down, so we could get a transfer fee from him. But also Armstrong did resurrect himself under Brendan. But yeah, he is out of contract next summer. Turnbull is one of those players that will walk away for nothing. I don't think the club would like him to walk away for nothing, because he's definitely got some kind of value there. If you can get him playing to his best, and a guy like Brendan could do it. But yeah, that's something interesting to look at there, what's going to happen with David Turnbull. Because there hasn't been any news about him signing any extensions, and it's usually about this time where years ago you would hear these stories.
I do think I do think by September, October time, if he has a big part under Brendan, like I think he will, then he'll definitely sign a contract. The interesting thing that people need to realise as well is David Turnbull scored 14 goals for a poor Motherwell team in 2019. David Turnbull, like, I'm sure Brendan knows what it's like, and don't forget that David Turnbull was going to the Premier League, but before he joined Celtic, he failed a medical at Norwich in the Premier League before he joined Celtic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I didn't actually know that, Regan. So you learn something new every day. Connor, let's touch on Matt O'Reilly before we start going into his comments that he made about Turnbull yesterday. What do you think he's going to be a real, shining light in this new look Brendan Rodgers side? Because his partnership that we've seen almost with Kyogo yesterday and his new almost adapted role really intrigued me. That through ball from Kyogo to Matt O'Reilly, and then you got a bit of stank on that finish yesterday, which that will only build up some confidence that he was maybe lacking last year in terms of goal scoring threat. I think we'll see Matt O'Reilly really get up the goal scoring charts this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big year for Matt O'Reilly. I think whilst he was the top assister in the league last season, I think maybe his output goals wise was a bit disappointing considering the previous season. He kind of came in and looked very, very promising on that front when he came in the January. But I think with Brendan working with him, I think he's got a massive, massive season ahead of him. He got that flick round from Kyogo, which was absolutely sexy as all hell, and then he got a bit of swaz on that shot and just rifled it into the back of the net, and it was absolutely magnificent. And I think it was assist the goal as well yesterday. Am I wrong?
The second Turnbull goal, he did so well down the byline to get that cross in. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm. It was almost kind of similar to the assist they had against the Rangers last season, where he kind of took it past the player and skinned them and then fired it in the box for the assist. Putting a plate for Turnbull. It's it's very, very is very promising. Because let's not forget, right, whilst O'Reilly's been here, he was scouted heavily in the English market by teams like Liverpool and that kind of ilk. He's a player of great quality that has a lot of development in him that can reach a very, very high level, and we've seen examples of that, and what he can offer in terms of that. And I think it's something to be very excited about this season, having a manager like Brendan who is more personable and will get on better with players.
Sit and have meals with them. Sit and have
dinner.
Sit dinner.
Aye.
That's good. That day was
maybe sit and gather around the dining table and have a wee killie pie with the boys. But I think it's really going to be really, really interesting, really fun to see the kind of player that Matt O'Reilly develops into under Brendan Rodgers.
Let's talk about Matt O'Reilly's post-match comments yesterday. He seems to be having a little, I don't know, is that another dig at our previous manager yesterday?
Passive-aggressive comments there, Matt.
He had the claws out yesterday. So what? After obviously Turnbull was interviewed and was given the man of the match, you could see when Turnbull was replying to the questions, you could see just slightly Matt O'Reilly off camera, and he's nodding away. And I was sitting there going, he's itching to say something. Like, he really wants to, he wanted to jump in and make sure that he got that in, whether he knew that that question was going to come next. But what he said was, in terms of he is too good not to play football, in my opinion. I think last season, in terms of application, especially off the pitch, he just got on with his work every day. Now, hopefully, he can reap the rewards going forward. The competition is very strong in that position, but that's a good thing. We have the league and the cup competitions, and I think that we're going to need everyone in the squad. We are probably going to play 60 odd games this season. Now, he also made sure, what I forgot to mention was, he says he deserves it as well. Let's be honest, it was pretty tough for you last year, wasn't it? He directly asked that question. He became the interviewer And you could see what it meant to Turnbull. Like, it was almost like a bit of weight off his shoulders. That wasn't just me thinking that. Obviously, the guys felt that as well. Now, whether it was unfair not to get as much game time, well, end of the day, we're not privy to know what's going on in the changing room, whether Ange fancied his style of play or not. Now, let's be honest, guys, we never missed him last year. None of us were bothered that he wasn't getting any game time. And like Boise and Terry said yesterday, you know, if he was injured and come back and played like that yesterday, you'd have been like, it's like getting a new signing. But because he just hadn't played, you know, out of sight, out of mind, you weren't bothered. I wouldn't have been bothered, and that's on me. Now, whether he continues to play at a high level like Regan predicts, we'll not know. But what do you make of that, Phil? What do you make of the comments from Matt O'Reilly there? Is it like was he throwing shade, or are we just reading too much into that? And is it more important that we focus on that he was praising a teammate rather than throwing shade at a manager he perhaps wasn't getting on with last year?
It could be a case of maybe we are reading a bit too much, but it's convenient that it's now happened twice, essentially. We sort of say passive-aggressive comments made. You're like, something going on there. But it's good. It shows good camaraderie with the team, and the fact that they're looking out for guys like David Turnbull. Because the thing is, Turnbull, and I see it in the comments already, he's becoming like a sort of James Forrest figure. There's such a polarising opinion on David Turnbull in the comments. All we're simply saying, right, is we accept that David Turnbull probably isn't the answer in the first team going forward if we're talking about European progression. But what we want is squad players who can come in and aren't just an empty jersey, because we've had too many of them over the years, guys that come in and they don't really contribute. But if David Turnbull is back to a level where, you know, if he's coming in, you're like, oh, well, if he's playing in this game, you're not too like, oh, it was such a drop down in the team. If he can put in performances like that yesterday on a consistent basis, we're not saying he needs to start every single week, but you just want to be reassured that these players that are waiting in the wings, David, can come in and do a job. And yesterday, I think we saw that. And if that's the type of things that Brendan Rodgers can get at David Turnbull, then I think, okay, that improves the overall squad. But yeah, we do accept that, you know, if it comes to a straight up battle between him and Hatate, Hatate starts every day of the week. You know, that's the thing. Yeah, no doubt about it. We're not suddenly saying that, oh, forget Hatate, he's rubbish. You know, David Turnbull's the man. But now we're like, okay, now we've got a guy where if he does get a start, then you're like, okay, I'm not too worried about him starting now because he can put in a shift. You know, so I think the signs are good for that, because we want to see some of our peripheral players, the squad players, improving. And he's definitely showed that yesterday.
We don't want to have such a massive drop off between players. If a player, you know, we need there to be good competition. That you're not too worried if, say, Hatate ends up on the shelf for a couple of weeks. So it's all right, well, at least we have such and such, maybe not Turnbull, but maybe somebody else that comes in that you don't notice too much. You don't notice too much of a drop off. Come on, we'll give him a little bit longer. Good thing the judge isn't on today, but Regan, you'd be getting a slap for that. So I don't think we'll need to read too much more into whether it's a feud or not. But it is quite interesting how quickly Matt wanted to jump in and make sure that people could understand that maybe Turnbull was maybe getting the wrong end of the stick. None of them have mentioned whether Giakoumakis was getting the wrong end of the stick. But we're not going there. On you go, Regan. What are you saying, mate?
I think sometimes we forget as well that as much as these players are not playing on the pitch, they're still a big part of the squad. And sometimes, as he's Marrelli's going into training every day, he's probably seen that David Turnbull's a little bit upset. He's trying to pick him up and say, look, mate, you're still a very good player. Your time will come. So I think there's sometimes we forget as well that just because they're not playing, they're still a big part of the squad. And obviously David Turnbull has impressed people like Matt O'Reilly for him to come out, because these players don't just say that for the sake of it. And I think it's testament to David Turnbull, because as we've seen before, some players can maybe go a bit negative and not want to play or move clubs or stuff like that. But David Turnbull just got on with it. He's tried his best, and now he's got his chance under Brendan. I think one of the big things that went against him for Ange Postecoglou was his pace. Anyone that plays Football Manager will tell you his pace is not very good, and in real life as well, his pace is not great. So I think in terms of Ange Ball, I don't think he suits Ange Ball as much as he does Brendan Ball. So I think that's one of the reasons why he's playing.
I was reading an article yesterday, Connor, that Brendan has had one-to-one chats with all of the squad and made them all aware of what his plans are for them specifically this season and whether or not that suits them as well. And they're all welcome to start looking at what their options are going to be, and if they're choosing to stay at the club, that they are aware that there will probably be a lack of game time. Now, one player that he was very vocal on yesterday after the game was Mr. Carl Starfelt, who is imminently leaving the club. Now, is this the correct decision from the club to allow Starfelt to leave? That is the question I'm posing to you. What was being said here is that in a developing story, La Liga side Celta Vigo is reportedly finalising a deal to secure the services of Celtic's Carl Starfelt, according to football journalist Fabrizio Romano. Rafa Benitez, current manager of Celta Vigo, has earmarked Starfelt as a pivotal addition to his squad for the forthcoming season, and it appears that personal terms have already been agreed, and the deal is edging closer to the finish line. Celtic boss Brendan Rodgers reflected on Starfelt's imminent departure, expressing understanding for his centre-back's decision in advance to advance his career, and in one of the world's top 5 leagues. Rodgers recognised Starfelt's ambition, acknowledging that this was the right time for him to make such a move. So, right decision for the club. He's obviously got one eye at the door. Is it best that we move him on, or are you a bit disappointed to see him leave?
I think it was for the best of the player. Then yeah, it's good for him, but let's not pretend that there isn't ulterior motives with this move. Like, he's only a 4-hour drive away to be Jacinta, and I think that's one of the main factors of it. Like,
I think it's one of the factors. I wouldn't put it down to being the main factor. It's definitely if he's got a choice to say 4 clubs, and one of them's in La Liga playing for Rafa Benitez, and just so happens that his missus is only 4 hours drive away, or he can go to Russia in a war-torn country, fighting in a war-torn country in Ukraine and all that kind of nonsense. I think I know which club I'm picking. Whether Jacinta's there or not, I think it's certainly a factor. But I wouldn't say there's an ulterior motive. It's just certainly one of the factors, and of many factors of moving to, let's face it, one of the top 5 leagues in the world. And he looks like he likes getting his suntan on as well by looking at his holiday photos.
I'm not saying that's the only point. Obviously, there's a lot of factors going into it. Playing under Rafa Benitez, one of the most competitive leagues in the world, will get a healthy wage packet at Celta Vigo. It'll help his development as well, and maybe help him rise to even further heights in Europe. But, I feel like people are maybe, because he's a very polarising figure as well, very quick to shoo him out the door, not really appreciating what he kind of brought to the team. People giving it, he was shite, or he's fucking averaging it. Him and Carter Vickers never lost a domestic game together when they played side by side. And that's not just down to Carter Vickers. There's 2 of them there. There's 2 players in that position. Do you know what I mean? They both have to contribute. And there's been games where I think Starfelt's look better than Carter Vickers as well. And I know that's fucking blasphemy to some people, but
And that Rangers game he did. And that
exactly, against their biggest rivals and one of the toughest games of the season. You're looking better than Carter Vickers against them as a feat in and itself. So he's been very good since he came here. I think the thing that kind of marked him for day one was he scored that OG in Europe, and his first game against Hearts when he just flew in. Do you know what I mean? The day before. Playing them at Tynecastle, was kind of marked his card in the eyes of a lot of people, and who are still haunted by the ghost of Shane Duffy. In terms of that, but he's a very, very good player, and if he is to move on, I do wish him all the best. I don't understand people who are giving him a slag, and as soon as any Celtic player moves on, they're like, aye, bye-bye, fuck you, like, just making it all personal. I was shite anyway. It just sounds bitter coming from people, and I don't really have any time for it. I think it's absolutely stupid, especially a player who has never once caused a fuss, who's never, made it, isn't he, like, flashed these fucking knickers at, other clubs and that previously, try to get a move as soon as he can, stuff like that, unlike others. I think he's came in, been very, very good, very, very solid, very underrated, and I think we will miss him. I do hope that we get another centre back in. I think if we don't, I think that's absolutely madness. If you don't think we, I'm still, championing that Dutch boy Xavier Mbayamba. I'm sorry, it's not my native language. I'm not sure if I'm butchering that or not.
Yeah.
But it's
in what regards? So what? God, I'm going to ask you because you've obviously looked into this boy. So what is it about this guy that is so appealing for you?
He's very highly rated in Holland. He's a very highly rated youngster. I think he's playing for Volendam currently. Well, he was, but I think he's moved to Sampdoria. May have fell apart. I think that was where he was meant to be going. He's about 6'3", 6'4". He's very strong, very physical. I think he's got pretty good stats in terms of his defensive capabilities. And I think
how old is he? Sorry,
he's really young. I think he's only 21.
Right. Okay.
So,
right. So my question then would be, what? My question would be, does he excite the fans in terms of, well, we need somebody to replace Starfelt? Like Bhoys, we need a.
Where did they got the Starfelt replacement in? Navarrete.
So,
he's a Starfelt
all right.
replacement.
So why not just keep Scales or Welsh then? Because I don't see.
Because they're not good enough. Not good enough.
And compared to who? This guy.
Mate, I know that Liam Scales scored a fluky goal against.
Well, if we've got a replacement for
Rangers
Starfelt, then we only need. We're looking for a guy that can be competitive and backup. Now we've got a player in Scales there who had a very good season at Aberdeen. He looks not out of place so far in pre-season. I'm not saying he's the answer, but I don't get the appeal on this guy so far when he's playing for a lower opposition team in Holland who has no experience of our league just yet. I don't see how he fights for a play. I don't know how he moves either Cameron Carter-Vickers or Starfelt out. Sorry, not Starfelt, Rocky out the team.
I think he is someone that the club have identified though, David, and he's probably in the age bracket as well.
Does he fit that mold though? Does he fit that mold of the marquee signing? Like let's look at Phil. Let's look at like yesterday's post-match pish.
Yep.
And I'm not writing him off, by the way, Connor. I'm pushing back because just for
I understand that. No good, mate.
They had agreed yesterday that we've already brought in 5 signings, have accumulated about £12 million worth of transfer fees. They said yesterday that they would be quite happy for 3 marquee, even 2 marquee signings. Now, is that on the profile that Connor's given us so far? Does that fit the bill for you as a marquee signing to bring in before the window shuts in a couple of weeks?
On the
Definitely
criteria that we've seen, no, because we've seen many fans are getting a bit restless with these young players who we've never heard of. They play for a team that we've not really heard of, and we pay about $2 million for them. He ticks all those boxes, and it's like, but yeah, a lot of fans are like, "Oh, this guy's amazing." I'm like, I mean, maybe they do watch the Eredivisie, as Russell would say. Maybe they do. Maybe they are connoisseurs of it. I don't know. But yeah, it's a bit of a, he does kind of fit the mold of being that project signing that a lot of fans are losing the rag with, that we keep signing. So to me, but if he's coming in as a third choice to replace Scales or Kobayashi, because Kobayashi's not going to make it, but it looks like Kobayashi's definitely been written off already. So you're right to bring up Scales. I understand why you're bringing him up. I think in pre-season he's definitely done himself all right. I don't think he's done anything terribly wrong. Is he again an answer long term? Probably not.
Probably not.
But no, it's but yeah, when you look at the characteristics of that signing for this boy, this Dutch centre back, again, I can't pronounce his name either, Connor, so I'm right there with you, pal, on that one. I'm not going to try. But yeah,
I'm sure when he signs, you'll have a wee 2-minute video telling everybody how to pronounce his name properly.
And
Can we
to
just
be
get-
honest,
we just-
Jack does bring up a good point. You know, VVD was not a big name, and that's something that I've also said as well to try and defend. Because again, there's an argument to both sides. But yeah, we have signed a lot of dross in that £2-3 million range.
It's a
We've also
three-barrel
signed
name.
lot
That's
of
a
good
huge
ones.
name, Alistair. Three-barrel name. That's a huge name. What are you talking about?
I know. So we have signed some good stuff like Virgil van Dijk. So there is a lot of. It's one of these ones. It's an unknown. It's a roll of the dice. This guy might actually be brilliant. It could be another Virgil van Dijk sign. It could be that. Or it could be another Kobayashi signing. It's this one we just don't quite know, unless you are a pure connoisseur of the Eredivisie. Then I guess. But no, we definitely do need to bring our side. But the bottom line is, so if Starfelt's off, and if Starfelt is off, we now know that it's been confirmed, then we do need to get another option in there. Because yeah, if Scales get injured, then you've got Welsh and Kobayashi and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, we definitely need another a decent choice in there, definitely for third place.
Brendan was saying this morning on the STV post that I've seen of a press conference, he did say that he's looking to get another centre back in due to he was hoping that Starfelt would stay, but obviously some factors have changed his mind. So yep, I think they'll definitely bring a centre back in. As much as I wouldn't be that dissatisfied if Skills stayed, because I think Skills has done well.
Yeah, I think he's done well. Also, Regan, a guy that did do well yesterday was Rocky. Regan, I'm just going to read it now. We're not stat guys here, but I just thought to get a wee idea. That's how.
What was his expected tackles, David? Tell us his expected tackles.
I've not got that. Come on. There's other shows that you can watch for that information, but I've got a 100% tackle success rate. Good start for a centre back. A 93% pass accuracy. 25% aerial duel winning ratio, whatever that means. 10 out of 11 long ball completions, 3 clearances, which was the highest in the team, and 2 interceptions, joint team high, 0 times dribbled past. So good start, Regan, for Rocky, for Balboa himself.
I think he looks. I think he looks quite a physical presence as well, and I think that's good for Scottish football as well, because it's not all about Europe as much as it is. I think sometimes we forget that Scottish football is a bit more rough and tumble than Europe as well. So I think that I think he's got the best of both worlds, where he could be the centre back that could be very good in the Champions League, but also if we go away to difficult grounds like Dundee, like Rugby Park, he could be the guy when they put the long throw in. He could be the guy that could get on the end of it and stuff like that. So, no, I think in terms of yesterday, I was very impressed with him. And the only thing is, he'll not be happy with it that it was that Celtic let in 2 goals.
Yeah, a little bit disappointment. It took the shine off the game a little bit, or the result a wee bit yesterday. Definitely room for improvement, and I think it's clear that Brendan is also well aware of that. Now, let's have a little chat about these. Now, like I said yesterday, post-match pish. If you didn't manage to catch it live yesterday, you can go back and watch it on the channel, and you'll also be able to listen to it on all your audio platforms. I'm getting good at this, right? Okay, so Connor, you're going to like this one, mate. We're going to have a little chat about another player that you've been champion. One more I can get on board with, and that is our he's not quite ours yet, if at all, is the Croatian goalkeeper. Do you want to pronounce his name for me, Connor?
Dominik Livakovic.
Look at that, yeah, that one. Now, okay, so if he's going to come on board, then I'm going to have to really start brushing up on my Croatian second names.
I hate to be that guy, right? I hate to be that guy come and say, but I think it's Livakovic because no Tiana who said Livatkovic, but either way, you're close. It's in that.
Right.
I know, but I'm sitting there like I hate to be that guy to point it out, but I think it's Livakovic.
Right, cheers for coming, Connor. I'll see you later.
Cheers,
Aye.
I'm away, bye.
The only reason I brought you on
Sorry.
here was for pronunciations, and you had one
I know.
job, mate, and you
I know,
got
here I've been sitting here listening to the boys say Livakovic every week, and I'm just like, he's fucking saying that
The
wrong.
only
He's
reason
saying
why
that
it's
wrong.
fresh in my mind is because I'm sick of packing him on Ultimate Team when you open up packs. He's always in like a gold pack. He's always there. 82 rated goalkeeper, Dynamo Zagreb. I see him all the time. And it's like Livakovic. Oh, I'm sick of the sight of this guy. So he's always in packs on Ultimate Team.
Well, let's have a little chat about him. So, according to a journalist Dean Jones, at the club reportedly targeting Croatian international Dominik Livakovic, and have been handed a boost as the players proposed. What's that? I should really read these before I read them to you guys. He's formed for Dynamo Zagreb, the Turkish side Fenerbahce. Sorry, he's moved to from Dynamo Zagreb to Turkish side Fenerbahce. Has supposedly broken down with the Super League side, turning their attention to other targets. Apparently, that's that. Keylor Navas. Speaking to Give Me Sport, transfer insider Jones revealed that Livakovic would be a marquee signing, if we're allowed to use that term, should the Hoops manage to secure the deal. Rodgers intends to replace Jota, and while I don't expect it to be a huge signing, I think by Scottish Premiership standards, they will bring someone in who makes a significant mark on the league. When he says replace Jota, he doesn't obviously mean like for like position. He means in terms of marquee signing and obviously price tag. He says he keeps hearing about the goalkeeper situation, which could be something to look out for. Like Livakovic is being linked pretty heavily with someone like that would probably be considered a marquee signing, to be honest. Just at the opposite end of the pitch where you might be expecting it. Now, the 28-year-old has been with Dynamo Zagreb since 2015, right? And he's made 283 appearances, keeping 131 clean sheets, en route to winning 8 major honours during his time there, where he's since become the club captain. But obviously he's more known over here for his World Cup displays. Obviously getting to a semi. Did he get to? He got to the final a few years ago, and obviously he got to the semi-final there against France. So, Connor, I know you're keen on this guy. Is this a possibility? Could we see it? This has been one of the marquee signings, one of the positions that I think we can be all honest now that Joe Hart's just not quite cutting it. He's just not quite cutting it for what we're after if we're really wanting to make an impact in Europe next year or this year. Sorry.
Aye, I think it's within our possibility because we've got the money. The money's there, and by all accounts, his deal to Fenerbahce has just completely fell apart. Which Big Fabrizio said was done and dusted about 4 weeks ago, and but nobody will ever pull him up in the fucking shite he spouts all the time. But oh well. But yes, I think we do need to really. If we do get him in, I'll be like buzzing at my wee head because he looks absolutely excellent. Obviously, I've only seen him at the previous World Cup, and I thought he was absolutely, great. I thought he was, very, very strong, very commanding, and he can actually save a penalty, which is a bonus. So, yeah, and I think Joe Hart yesterday, like the collective just groans in the stadium yesterday when Joe Hart does what he does, fucking chesting that ball and, according to Chris Boyd, getting away a potential penalty. Fucking arsehole. But he can't even make a basic pass to his defender now without putting it out for a fucking corner. He's done it twice in the past few games. I think the writing's on the wall for Joe Hart. And I think we need to get in and replace him to its feet before it really backfires on us. And now that's not me saying that I don't want Joe Hart around this team and around the squad. I think he'd be an excellent backup keeper, especially domestically, because I don't think Bain or Siegrist is going to come in and make any sort of mark in that position. And even after that, I'd still be very, very happy to keep Joe Hart in and around the infrastructure of the club. Maybe offer him a coaching role. I have no idea. And yeah, like Stevie Kenny saying, Zagreb still have 2 qualifiers left, but you know, I mean, aye, they could have 2 qualifiers, but who's to say that we haven't offered them an absolutely healthy offer and that he's going to come in after those qualifiers does? Maybe that's why the deals fell apart. Maybe he's away to somebody else. I think there was maybe a rumour he was getting offered to go to one of the Saudi clubs as well. You know, it's a very interesting situation. You know, that we're in. I'm just happy that it's kind of happening early doors, that we're kind of seeing Joe Hart's deficiency kind of creeping in now, and it's not a couple of months down the line when we're playing Rangers or we're you know, in the Champions League and we're like, fuck, what are we going to do?
Aye.
I think now is the kind of perfect time to get in and address that situation. And I don't feel bad for Joe Hart because he's, you know, everybody goes, oh, terrific servant for the club, blah, blah, blah. Aye, but he's been paid a fucking really decent wage and we've, you know, helped his fucking profile back again. Bearing in mind, he was down in the dumps before he came to us, and he's won, you know, league titles and trebles and that. So, you know, but I do think that it maybe is time to take old Joe at the back and put him down gently, so to speak. Like old Yeller.
Woofed. Oh my word.
I
I'm
think
not
as well.
wanting Alan McGregor at Celtic. I'm sorry, I can't deal with it. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Joe.
I think as well. I think deep down, Brendan knows it himself. You know, if we're being honest with himself, I think Brendan knows it. I watched him yesterday when Celtic let in that first goal, and his reaction wasn't too good. So, I'm just see for me for the 31st of August, I think the marquee signing will be a number 1 goalkeeper and possibly a striker, because I think obviously you two were in the stadium, but Kyogo got injured I think it was halfway through the first half of the Brighton saying that, Phil.
He was down, and it's that thing where your heart's in your mouth
it
and you
did
see him
look
go
pretty-
down.
It did look pretty bad in the stadium. It was down for a good
They
for a good
reviewed
2
it on
minutes.
VAR, didn't they, Vegan? They reviewed it as a potential
They
red
did.
card challenge, and it didn't in the end. But that's, you know, he was down for a wee while there, so you were like, oh no. Don't
Well,
be injured, please.
The keeper received praise from legendary shotstopper Oliver Kahn for his performance against Brazil in December, with the former Bayern Munich keeper saying, "The man who stopped Brazil will always be a hero to me. Livakovic is worthy of praise. Such a goalkeeper must be at a top club. I have no doubt that this will be the case in the new season." Now, I want to go back to Alan Wood's comment, which is a very good point, by the way. If you can find it.
Oh, yeah.
I never got to say
I know
that.
the
Say,
one.
You
I
should
should
have
have starved
starved
it. I should
Should
have.
have
I know.
starved it. Honest amateur hour, like it was
I
mentioned
know.
by
God's
Danny
sake,
earlier.
Phil.
There
Honestly.
it is, Alan Woods.
There it is. So, said this before, if the Croatian number 1 is so good and only 8 million, why haven't more big clubs come in for him? I was looking at Dynamo Zagreb's biggest transfer dealings, and it's quite interesting. They've only the highest transfer was for I've done myself an absolute whopper here. Josko Vardiol. He's at
The one that plays for Leipzig that's going to Man City.
36.8. Yeah, 36.8 million is
Mm.
is their biggest transfer deal. And now a certain Filip Benkovic signed for Leicester for 14.5 million. You know, that's not mass. You know, not massive amounts of money, and he ended up on loan at us. So I don't know. Maybe Dynamo Zagreb's not a club that a lot of top teams tend to look for anymore. I mean, Modric moved from there to Tottenham.
Yeah.
And of course, who's the boy that's just about from Chelsea to City? Is it Kovacic? He was at Inter Milan. He moved there.
Kovacic,
Yeah,
Mateo
11
Kovacic,
million. So they don't
Yeah.
deal. They're not massive sums of money in the grand scheme of things. So, you know, maybe it's just one of these ones that's just flew under the radar. You know, even with the good performances for Croatia. I mean, we ended up, you know, with Croatia's number 1 right back for
We did, yeah.
Aye,
He only
Aye.
sold for 7
million.
Only sold for
Yep.
7 million. Maybe the Croatian market isn't as lucrative as we think. Now, yes, now Phil, you're right to point out obviously the worry that we have again about Kyogo's injuries. And again, I go back to post-match push yesterday. Check it out. The 3 positions that were kind of earmarked by Bhoys and Terry was a forward, a goalkeeper, and I'll say a full back, because I think left back or right back, if we can get somebody that can cover both, would be ideal. Now, one of the points that Terry said before I move on to the attacking role was there's plenty good goalkeepers out there that have found themselves in we'll call it the Fraser Foster situation, where you're a very good goalkeeper, perhaps a third choice. Now, I gave a name on I think it was Judgment Day or last Thursday, maybe on TNF. I mentioned the Arsenal goalkeeper, the number 1 United States keeper. Another one that I think would be an interesting signing, Regan, would be maybe, and he was also mentioned in the comments last week, I remember, Stefan Ortega of Man City. Now, he's only 30, gets a lot of cup games for City. Now, who's the other guy they've got there? They've got Ederson, there's another boy.
Is it the American guy? Is it Zach Stefan or something like that? Or is that a couple of years ago?
Yep. He's like 22.
Yeah, so I think he's kind of maybe their number 2. So you've got a Stefan Ortega at Man City now, obviously, with the City links. Maybe that's a guy that, potentially could be looked at if we don't go for the creation. I'm just throwing a name out there. But my point, what I'm making is, when Terry said that on last night's show, that's a great point, and I just thought I'm going to have a look at see who these third choice goalkeepers are, and would I be happy to see us being linked to them. Ortega, I wouldn't be too upset if he was coming in to maybe push for that number 1 goalkeeper position. Now, I can't remember who I was speaking to last, but I'm going to go to you, Phil, because you're closest to me. We've got now that Tete that Rodgers had signed on loan to Leicester. He was a player that was mentioned. He is looking to have his contract ripped up at Shakhtar Donetsk.
Shakhtar, yeah.
What are the likelihood of Tete coming to Celtic? Now, I know he's had an interest from the likes, even Borussia Dortmund are apparently sniffing around now.
Oh, right, okay.
Now, he didn't have the greatest loan spell at Leicester.
Yeah.
We know how all that went. Would that be a player? Now, if the links are true, would you be quite excited about the Brazilian coming to Celtic?
I would be at all. I mean, the only reason you'd be getting him on a free transfer is because he's asked for his contract to be terminated because of the current ongoing situation with Ukraine and Russia. So you're getting a player that probably market value is quite significant. Would cost us nothing. But I do think, wasn't he off to Lyon, or that was the latest story that he was off there? But I don't think he's signed with anybody yet. I think there's still a few weird Instagram reel stories going around where he's taking pictures at airports and stuff, keeping people guessing. But yeah, the last I'd heard was he was like Lyon. But that is, I mean, a player like that is ideal. I mean, we've worked in there. It's a guy who would be significant value if we were going to buy him outright. You're looking at probably up at that 8-9 million range, which would be significant for us. I know it's obviously spare change for big leagues like England and stuff like that. But yeah, if we can get him for nothing, we're able to lock in on that. But as far as I know, things have cooled a wee bit on that because he's kind of flashing his knickers at a lot of different teams now and posting selfies in airports with suitcase and stuff. Where's he off to next? Keeping people guessing. But if teams like Dortmund, as you were mentioning there, are in for him, then good luck with his competing there for that one.
I'm getting told to stop reading The Sun. I didn't actually read The Sun. I got that online and just from memory, Stevie Kenny. But I'll take your point on board. I don't have any. I gave up that gimmick a long time ago. It was too noisy, too fiddly. Stick to 2023 technology, Connor. That's what's maybe best to do. Now, I've got some trivia. Now.
Oh yes.
I'll be the quiz master today, Phil.
Okay, no problem.
Right.
Okay.
I have a question for you, and for that now. Nobody in the chat, don't be looking this up. Okay, I want you to be honest here. Okay. Who was Brendan Rodgers' first signing for Leicester? Who was his first signing
Leicester?
For Leicester? When he became Leicester manager, who was his first transfer? Does anybody know?
I didn't really pay much attention once he left us. I was just like, he's away now. That's it.
Yeah,
just
right.
nothing knows.
Nobody knows?
The Tielemans?
Nope.
Ooh.
Nope.
Oh.
It doesn't really matter.
Don't tell me.
Well, I'm not having you going on for too long. I'll move this on quickly because I know this is a Celtic podcast. But the point I've brought this up is, let me bring this up, was a man who was very, very high up and on this infamous list.
Oh,
Now he was a priority signing.
James Justin.
Yeah,
Was it him? Oh, the right back.
it was him.
Brendan Rodgers swooped in and stole him from under our noses. Brendan Rodgers signed him.
So it was. They're like Luton Town or something, wasn't it?
He was from
They're
Luton
Luton
Town. He
Aye.
won back to back. Yes, also happy birthday, Phil.
Happy birthday,
Keep
Bill.
that
eh?
quiet.
That's be quiet.
38
that
years
quiet.
young today. So yeah.
Yes.
There you
Oh,
go.
thank you. Thank you
Now-
everyone in the chat that's saying it as well. Thank you.
Now, all I'm saying, he's a right back and he can play
Mhm.
left back. And Brendan Rodgers, it was the first signing he made at Leicester. He played him in every game up until he got injured in that FA Cup loss to Brighton.
Right.
It was an ACL injury. But I've looked at his. He was well fancied by Brendan. Not sure how fancied
That's
he'll
a
be.
good shout.
All I'm saying is,
That's a
he's
good shout.
25 years old, English, right back, full back. We'll just say full back. 63 appearances in the Premier League last year. He won the 63 appearances for Leicester since he signed for them, winning an FA Cup. He won back-to-back promotions at Luton Town, including I think it was second division.
Right.
And we wanted him a couple of years ago, and he was far younger, a bit more established now. Rodgers liked him. All I'm saying, it's not been mentioned in any papers. I've just thrown a bone out there, seeing what bites. So you never know, Regan.
I
You
think,
never know.
David, I think you could be onto something there. Because we're looking for a right back. I thought
We're looking
Tony
for a right
Ralston was.
We need a right back.
What's
We
that?
need a right back.
Mhm.
He was Rodgers' first signing. He liked him so much that he decided to use that old transfer sheet and take it with him
Yeah.
to Leicester.
I know
I would-
Mark's a big. I know Mark's a big fan of Tony Ralston, but I think I'd rather have Mark playing with his hangover than Tony Ralston yesterday. I thought it was Tony Caravan yesterday. I really did.
Yeah.
We'll give him the benefit of doubt that he's not quite up to speed, but I think we do need a replacement. And all I'm saying is,
It's
You
a fair
never know.
shout. It's
That's
a
a
fair
fair
shout.
shout.
Lots of
JJ.
experience, aye. Lots of experience there.
JJ, we'll get JJ back.
JJ,
Aye.
Got the new JJ.
So,
Mark,
but
do
what
you
you
know
say is
happy?
right, David. The League One.
Well, I certainly do. So, well, like I say, I keep going back to last night's post-match pish. As a forward, I certainly need a forward, whether it's a striker or somebody that could cover that left wing if he wants to have Maeda as his third or his second choice striker. Because from what we saw yesterday, O didn't get on yesterday. He decided to push
No.
Maeda into the middle, and he brings James Forrest on. Now, Jamesy, I love you, mate, but it's 2023, and I'm kind of looking
I don't
for
think he rates so.
somebody else
I-
coming on.
I don't think he rates so. To be honest, I don't. That's my honest opinion. I don't think he rates so.
It was funny because I actually thought I thought O might have been more up Brendan Street. Big physical guy, bit of pace. He's still very raw, but yeah, Regan might be right. He might not fancy him. What's your thoughts?
He is really raw. But I think he has looked okay in pre-season. He's looked decent. I think that game against the Athletic Club on Tuesday, I think he looked very, very good. He looked very solid. He was, dropping back a bit deeper, linking the play, putting balls in. He looked very, very good, very comfortable. And I don't know, he kind of does. You would think he does fit that kind of mould where he does like a big, powerful striker. Case in point, Dembele was, his boy. Before that, Bridge burned and burst into flames. But yeah, it's a strange one. But then, because I was like, sure, like he'll bring Owen for the last 5-10 minutes, and then he didn't, and I was like, he's playing Maeda as a striker, okay, interesting. But then that maybe does lend credence to the theory that we're gonna make this marquee signing, and one of them's gonna be a striker. Because we know Brendan loves a striker, and he loves bringing in these big time strikers, and I'd be very, very I'd be very interested to see that. I think there's other areas that need addressed, like right now, like before we even think about getting a striker. If our next signing was a marquee signing, was a striker, I'd be a bit like, okay, cool, but what about the keeper? What about the fullback situation? We're fucking hanging by a thread here. So yeah, but I think, I don't know. Is he gonna be third choice now? Is he gonna be fourth choice if another striker comes in? So they play second choice, made it third choice striker. What happens there? I think he needs minutes. I've seen stuff from him. I don't know. I know people are very, divided on him, but what I've seen, I like him. I think he looks good. I don't know, maybe if you would loan him out to another club. And I'd see, when I say loan him out to another club, I don't mean fucking loan him out to a club in Spain or fucking Brazil or somewhere. I want players loaned out to other SPFL clubs now, because if they want to come back and develop and be, get used to your game, loan him out to a fucking other SPFL club, because it plays off three fronts. It's three additional benefits. One, they get more game time, become better players. Two, they'll get used to our game, used to the physicality, and depending on what kind of team it is, whether they're higher than the table, lower than the table, they get used to either defending or they're, on top. They can take that, attributes and bring it to their game. And the third, they could take mere fucking points off that mob. And I think that's I'm just selfish. I just want that. You look at Christopher Aya, Ryan.
He's a blueprint. He's a great blueprint.
He's up to Bruges, Club Bruges, I believe. Is it Bruges?
Is he? Where there? Is he?
Is it Where's Ronnie? Where's Ronnie now?
He is at Bruges, yeah.
Bruges, he's apparently wanting Aya.
Oh, right, okay.
So
I noticed last season at the sort of tail end, he was definitely out the team at Brentford, so that would make sense, because it was definitely a Ronnie Dyler signing. He was signed on a pre-contract when Ronnie was still the manager at Celtic, and then when he came in, Brendan happened to take over. But the first thing Brendan did, Connor, is he loaned him out to Kilmarnock, and they played him at centre back as well, even though he came as a centre midfielder. So I gave him good experience, and he came back into the Celtic first team, and that was him pretty much, from that moment on, he was in. But that does, it gives him good experience and gets him a feel for the league, because this league's full of hammer throwers, a lot of cloggers that I don't think a lot of the foreign players are ready for when they come here.
Regan, I'm just looking at telly there, Regan, and obviously Leicester is playing Coventry just now, and obviously it was mentioned that said Justin is on the bench, as is Castagna. But I quickly want to talk about Coventry, because they signed a striker this year for 8 million. You know who that was, don't you?
No.
Signed him from Everton for £8 million. Playing at Hearts only 2 seasons ago.
Oh,
Sims.
Sims
stats.
He scored 7 goals in 21 appearances for Hearts, and then he scored 7 goals in 17 appearances on loan at Sunderland, and he meant it's an £8 million move to the Championship for Coventry.
Ooh.
As I keep saying, about marquee signings, I really hope that we manage to find these marquee signings, but that is the level that we're dealing with here. That a guy that couldn't kick a ball up here, couldn't get a game for Everton, gets on loan to Sunderland, gets an £8 million move to another Championship team. How do we compete with that when a guy at that level, at that ability, is costing £8 million? That is my biggest concern about finding these market signings. It becomes more and more difficult every year.
I think one of the things you need to ask yourself as well, David, sorry for jumping in there, is that if Kyogo got injured, God forbid, like 1 week before the Ibrox game, would you be happy with opening up front? I certainly wouldn't.
His goals to game ratio suggests that he's got a goal in him.
But you can't base it on stats, mate. You've got to base it on, I don't know, something else. I think
he looked very good. I thought he looked good against Wolves. If you want to go on other than stats, he did score against them. But no, sorry, not Wolves. Athletic. But he looked really good. Thought he could cause problems. Don't think he's had much game time to. But when you go on his own,
to play devil's advocate, David, they were 4-1 up yesterday against a poor Ross County side that they couldn't even get off the bench.
Yeah,
very true. Very true, Regan. Well, we're no further forward there, are we?
Definitely not a striker. I think
And,
he's
and
definitely an option.
Brendan, we trust. Now, before we go, boys, you did put in the chat saying, is anybody up for a Sunday sesh? So perhaps that is happening around, I don't know, boys, you thinking about 6 o'clock?
6 p.m. he said.
Is it
I
6
saw
p.m.?
Liam Greenlaw, the wise man of the bus, saying something in the chat yesterday. He was up for appearing, and he's not appeared this week. So I imagine Liam will be joining Russell for that one, definitely.
Well, we'll make sure that you're all tuning in
Brilliant.
for the Sunday session. There's a bit more upbeat, a bit more tempo going on a Sunday session than our nice, dignified, chilled Sunday blether. But that's what you're tuned in for on a Sunday blether, for a nice wee chilled start to your Sunday before you get rocking into what the weekend brings. Whether you're going to go and celebrate the start of the season with a nice, comfortable 4-2 victory over Ross County, or perhaps a 1-0 win for Kilmarnock. But, you know,
Crossed my mind.
Quickly on that, bit of a reality check yesterday. I thought it was a bit of a, maybe a bit of a reality
See if
check.
you sign that many players in one window. We
That's
can
it.
testify to it. Tony Mowbray did it. In 2 windows, he ripped up a team, and that didn't work for him. It's only if they looked at examples like that. It's all well and good, shout for the rooftops. Oh, we've signed 10 players, 11 players. Great. You've then got to put them in a team in gel, and lo and behold.
What Connor said, I'm pointing down to you as if you're actually below me, Connor. But what you said earlier is quite poignant, actually, because you said if our marquee signing was another striker when there's positions in the pack that are probably more, needing to improve on, and you go and sign 4 attackers, it's like he doesn't even know. It's like he didn't know what to do with them all. He's like, I've got all this stuff and I don't know what to do with it all. It was just, it was. You could say he was a bit unlucky. It's a bit of an unlucky man yesterday. But with all the war chest that he had to, make a real fist of it yesterday. But they made a real arse of it, really, didn't they, Connor? But,
they did. I mean, it's all well and good saying you've signed a striker from Feyenoord who's going to come in and do this. So a player in from Italy who's scored maybe 2 goals in his last fucking 50 games. But see if you don't keep the ball out the other end of the net, it's not going to do you much fucking good, is it?
That's it. That's it. We're not going to go on about it too much, but yeah, they just the reality comes down at you fast, and early days yet. You never know what will happen. Reality hurts sometimes. But that's all we're going to talk about when it regards to him. Has everybody enjoyed themselves Sunday with Regan as usual? My friend, my Sunday blethering colleague. Did you have a good Sunday?
You're getting on well now since your dad.
We get on fine all the time. Don't make out that we don't get on. We get on fine.
I'm only kidding. But it's great to have you back, David, and I'm glad that Celtic got off to the perfect start. I mean, what a brand new season we've got in store. It's going to be good, and I'm glad to be on the bus. So, no, it's good.
Yeah, it's always good to have you on, mate. Phil, Mr. Friday Night. You're tired, mate. I could tell.
I had a lot of late night. Yes, I did indeed. But no, I've enjoyed it, man. It's been good. It's good. Again, I always enjoy being on Sunday. Blair, nice, chill, dignified chat about Celtic, especially now the competitive is back. Because that was a long pre-season. That felt long. What happened there? But no, now the real stuff is back, and this time next week we'll be doing a sort of pre-match for the Aberdeen game, won't we? Because it's an early kick-off on the Sunday. So next Sunday's Blair will be that. So big one, that one. I'll put Pataudry.
12 a.m. 12 a.m. on that Sunday. That'll be good.
Oh, we need to set our alarm clocks nice and early for that show then next week.
Oh yeah, definitely. Connor, you enjoyed yourself today. You managed to keep yourself pretty dignified.
Aye, for once.
You're rascal.
David keeps me on a tight leash. It's when I'm on with the other boys, that boys, he just fucking lets me run away with it. Doesn't even call me back. But no, it's been a nice dignified chat for me for once. I think that's the one and only time somebody's ever called one of my points poignant. So I appreciate that, mate. And I hope everybody has a lovely Sunday, and I'll be tuning in with great interest to boys saying Liam's chat and getting torn into them. And let's just keep rolling with the season. A long way to go, but it's looking good already. And let's live it up.
Indeed.
Yes, let's live it up. Right, enjoy your Sunday, guys. Get on the Sunday sesh for some Beale bashing. See you. See you next
See you
week.
later, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.